No, because on most DSLR videos, like we were talking at the start of the marathon, you're limited to about 20 minutes per bit. Don't do it. Also, don't get any camcorder that's exclusively flash based, because again, 20-minute limit. Don't do it. You're going to want to get a camera that has a hard drive inside, because if you're going to be like 1.5, 2 hours or such, internal hard drive is your best bet.
Yep. Sadly.
Yeah, and the biggest lens you can find.
Right. Let me hit B&H
Bigger
photo
the lens,
real-
no 3D. Don't go 3D.
You may
B&H.
well actually not. He said he doesn't want to do hard drives. Unfortunately, he said no discs.
Too bad.
Well, actually, he says flash memory of some sort, no disc. I think he doesn't want to deal with DV. I think that's what he's saying. So I guess a hard drive camera would be all right then in that case.
DVD recording cameras.
Right.
Oh god.
A
Hard
DVD
drive-
recording camera. That's right. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, hard drive camera is just fine, but
I forgot those garbage DVD cameras existed. I apologize. I forgot those existed. Those are awful. Oh, excuse me.
the kernel memory. Let's see what I can do here.
Aren't there SSD upgrades by now for like those hard drive recording cameras?
Well,
Put in any
okay.
hard drive. You could put in SSD.
Internal flash is okay because it will go over the limit. Internal flash is fine. It's the external SD cards you have to pick out. I have your solution, sir.
Uh-oh.
It is the Canon Vixia HF G10. 32 gigabytes internal flash storage. Canon HD CMOS Pro image sensor, which is really, really good. Good lens, good storage. It can also do dual SD cards as well for additional storage. It's got a touch control LCD panel. That's your best bet. I would go with this one. It's about $1,000, at least $1,000 US. But it'll have you covered, up, down, straight, all of it. And that's half your budget right there. I would also recommend,
Lighting?
while you're doing this, well, not just lighting. While you're doing this, add a little something to it. The Rode Video Mic Pro. Because camcorder microphones, suck. But the Rode Video Mic Pro is a really, really good one. It would be an additional $200 added to your purchase, $200, $250. But that's okay because you're still under budget there. And the sound quality is fantastic. And you'll notice a big difference on it. So, yeah, to make everything work together, Canon Vixia HF G10. That's what you're looking for. And the Rode 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 Video Mic Pro. That you'll be all set.
And if you can convince your university to get you Electronity or some similar recording software that doesn't record the screen, but you can like embed the PDF or PowerPoint or whatever file you have in there, and has a nice web player and everything. That thing is awesome.
And if you're
Because we use it
streaming,
in our university. That thing you can actually scroll, and it says like if you scroll to a page, it moves the video to that page, and you can still read the text perfectly. So, try to convince somebody to get that.
okay, it's video podcasting, digital. You want to record the desk. Okay, so this is recording, and he's screencast. All right, this is going to be a little tricky. It depends on if you are doing it live, or are you recording it and then playing it back later. If you're recording it and playing back later, the one we recommended is fine. Doing it live, you'd need either a YouTube, not YouTube, you need either a webcam with high resolution, or there's another option, if you'd like to do this stuff live, is what I use. I have an old Canon HV20. And it's a DV cam, and it's kind of old, but I don't use it that way. The reason I use it is it's got a FireWire connection, and FireWire camcorders, if you set it up properly, and I think will FF split read from a FireWire camera as a webcam?
I don't know if FF split will, but OBS should.
OBS. So you can use the FireWire camera as a sort of a webcam for streaming video. It's what I use for my show. It's a Canon HV20. You can pick that up on eBay for a song because it's a DV cam, a digital video, mini DV tapes. Nobody uses the damn things anymore. It's still all the video part of it, the lens and all that other stuff, still great. It's just the recording media. But when you hook it up via FireWire, you take the mini DV out of the equation and you get a great, I don't know if you've seen any of my recordings, but you get a great picture. And still you're able to stream with it. So,
well, that's an interesting. It's an interesting option. We have another question from Sir Blackadder. You ready?
Yeah.
I've gotten back a Samsung P500 notebook from my father, who bought a new Windows 8 touch-enabled thingy. The reason he got rid of the Samsung P500 was that it developed a tendency to crash when touched. The notebook is tapped a bit harder on the side of the screen of the base unit. It will immediately restart. I did not notice a BSOD, but maybe it's displayed too briefly. My question is, there anywhere specific I should start?
Okay, first, when will it restart? If it's on battery power, if it's on wall power, or both? That is the first question you have to answer here.
Well, if it's a BSOD, would that be a power issue? On
BSOD could be an interrupted power issue that causes some weird glitches. You know, if you ever seen maybe like a quick brownout, the computer won't turn off, but it'll BSOD sometimes. It depends.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, because some bits are not where they're supposed to.
Yeah, some bits are not where they're supposed to be, and then computers hate that. They don't function properly when that happens. So, is it plugged in? Is it battery? Is it both? The other question I would ask is, you should go into the system administrator logs and see if it's actually BSODing. See if you're getting a critical system problem when that happens. If not, if you're plugged in, or if it's both, and you're not getting any BSOD, you look through the system logs in Windows, the system administrator logs, and it's not BSODing. It may very well be a loose connector or some sort of break in the connection between the power button or the reset button and the main board.
Yep. Yeah, or some other device. That if it's a blue screen, it's probably some other device, because hardware movement causing blue screens usually.
Yeah.
Like there must be some loose connection, some bad soldering in there.
Yeah, probably. Well, we'll see. Well, again, we need you to get back to us on that. Is it just battery? Is it just plugged in? Is it both? Is it just completely random?
One of those things. Like I know the MacBook have them. They have acceleration sensors. If they detect movement.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be an accelerometer turning it off, like for protection.
Switching off the hard drive usually, but maybe the driver for that is kind of broken, then that's the other thing.
And now, is it actually? Now, here's the question: is it actually turning off? Because you mentioned the side of the screen or a little bit on the base unit. Is it actually turning off, or is it turning the monitor off and the system's on? Because then that could isolate it to another area as well. It could be the connector between the monitor and the computer.
And other thing, even if it's a laptop, don't move your PC when it's running.
Yes, even if it is
not good. No good can come of it.
Never. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one from Moatman. Since my last question, I've replaced my computer. I have a weird startup issue. If I restart my computer or turn it off and leave it off for about an hour, when it boots back up, it takes a really, really long time to actually load everything, on an order of 5 to 20 minutes usually. It doesn't do this if the computer's off for less than an hour or more than 2 or 3 hours. I've tried messing around with startup services with no change. It shouldn't be the processor or RAM. CPU usage is never above 20%, and RAM usage is never above 5% when it happens. Any ideas what's going on?
The hell?
If I restart my computer or turn it off and leave it off for an hour, when it boots back up, it takes a really, really long time to actually load everything, on the order of 20 minutes usually.
What?
It doesn't do this if the computer is off for less than an hour or more than 2 or 3 hours.
the hell?
This is a specific set of circumstances here.
Sagema has a suggestion
First, congratulations on figuring this out.
Sagema has a suggested potentially capacitor, and Mini Lily and Dirk both say maybe heat.
It could be a factor. Capacitor also. Might also just be a software.
What the hell? What did you do?
It is between 1 hour and 2 hours that it does this. Less than an hour, it doesn't do this. More than 2 hours, it doesn't do it. Get yourself a UPS and never turn it off. I don't know what else to tell you. I literally don't know what to tell you.
What did you do? It's a laptop. Let's have a look at this thing. What did you do?
To try Linux? Maybe get some more information from it?
Use a live CD.
Yeah,
that's
use
a great
live.
idea.
Actually, turn it off for an hour and then use a live CD. See if it takes as long.
Yeah, if it does, then you've got a hardware problem, and we're scratching our heads. If it doesn't, you've got a software glitch somewhere. That's easier to just clean it out by a new one. You just wipe it out.
Oh wait. He has a PS here, by the way, and I think I know what the problem is. I have also discovered that the problem happens when the computer comes out of hibernation.
Fuck.
There's your problem, Moat Man. Don't do hibernation.
Yeah, it seems
Disable
like a great
hibernation.
idea and a neat little option and something you can do, but they've never gotten sleep or hibernation exactly wonderfully perfect.
No. Too many drivers,
Don't
too many
use
hardware
the
configurations. It
no.
doesn't work right. Also, he says, I recently installed the partition of Fedora Core on this computer, and it doesn't have the issue. And I think we can all safely trace this back to hibernation.
Yep, this is hibernation.
Also, I may want to ask you this. Do you use Windows? Oh God, what is it called? What does Windows call it when you put a USB flash drive in it and it wants to use the speed up?
Ready boost.
Ready boost, yeah. Do you use that at all? Because that has been known to be wrong on so many levels. That has been known to be a pain in the ass on so many ridiculous levels that it's evil. It's just it's a plight against humanity. Blight against humanity. I would not use it. I do not recommend it, and I don't recommend you use it. I would definitely disable that at any and all costs. I think this all traces back to either Ready Boost or hibernation. I think that's what the biggest problem is. I don't use hibernation. Whatever you do, don't use it. It's if it works fine for you, okay, that's great. But honestly, God, how many problems have we had with hibernation on this show?
Yeah, some hardware will handle hibernation and sleep no trouble. Some don't.
Some don't.
And it's a crapshoot which ones will and which ones won't, because it's supposed to be standard, isn't? Some software, some hardware implements it correctly, some don't. So, blah.
Hey Nash, check out what I found.
What'd you find?
Instead of going to the next question, I want to show you this on Newegg. $185. It's called the NTA 350, and check out what this is. It's a small computer. It's got an AMD E350 APU, which is a dual core 1.6 gigahertz x86 processor. It's got 4 it supports it's got 4 gigabytes of memory with one 204 pin slot DDR3 1066. It has one SATA drive, SATA port. It has where's the AMD graphics? AMD Radeon HD 6310 onboard graphics. It's a small form factor, weighs less than a pound. It's 7.48 by 5.32 by 0.98. Comes with HDMI, DVI, 4 rear USBs, an RJ45 jack, Wi-Fi, wireless on it, and for a limited time on Newegg, you get a free 64 gigabyte solid-state drive with the purchase of this.
Ooh.
Ooh.
$185. You get this awesome little computer.
And it's got a VESA mount, so you can just
Yes.
screw it onto the back of a monitor and you're done.
So, neat little thing I found on Newegg there. If you guys are looking to spend your Christmas money, there's a way to do it.
So that's an all. So you get an all-in-one PC
Essentially all in one.
that you can upgrade later because you can swap out a new monitor. Yay.
Yeah, you can.
Good.
You can swap out a monitor. You can upgrade it to a maximum of 4 gigabytes of RAM. It only has SATA 3.0. It doesn't have longevity built into it. I mean, it's not going to last you 50 years, but what computer does? And it's only $185. That's a fun little thing to put Linux on, And it's got that APU too, which means along with the AMD onboard graphics, it can offload some of the graphics to the processor as well. So that's pretty cool. It supports BGNN wireless networks. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just wanted to point that out.
No, it's neat. That's a neat little thing.
I think what makes it even better is that 64 gigabyte SSD.
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty, we're on page 8. We only got one more page left, so I don't know if we're going to do 12 hours this year.
Remember how much those SSDs used to fucking cost like $500-$600?
It's about goddamn time they came down in price. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Ugh. How long ago were we talking about them? 5, 6 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It took them how long to come down in price this far?
Uh,
And they're still not that price competitive.
Nope.
Yeah. I thought the SSDs were gonna change the world. I mean, I guess they have, tablets and smartphones, but SSDs aren't in smartphones.
they will eventually, one day.
Well, how big is my phone? I mean, realistically, what am I gonna?
They just when they get to a smaller fabrication size, smaller.
Yeah.
We've already got we've already have micro SD cards, dude. They're gonna get the SDs down, the solid state drives down to a much smaller size.
Hey, oh boy, can you take the next question? My mouse went behind the desk.
Hooray! Okay.
It's taking a little trip of adventure.
This is from Kotaro Fuma. Hello, Mr. Cat, Mr. Nash, and Mr. Luku. Okay. 2 questions. Got a bit of an odd one here. I'm having an odd issue with my hard drives and boot priority. For simplicity, they are as follows. 1 terabyte Western Digital, Windows Essential Software, 1 terabyte Western Digital for Steam, and 500 gigabyte Samsung, whatever the hell else. For some reason, I keep having an issue where all 3 of my hard drives plugged in. It will only show my DVD drive and Samsung drive show up in boot order. When I unplug my 500 gigabyte drive, my other 1 terabyte drive show up and D drive. Why is my 500 gigabyte drive doing this? I formatted it several times with all my drives. Okay, this has nothing to do with your formatting or any of the other stuff. This is... Camera went away again. This is about sharing of SATA ports. That's what's going on. It's SATA ports, and they do have... While they don't talk about this, and they don't make it readily apparent, there are slave and master SATA connection. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 6 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those connections, they're linked together.
Yeah, usually 2 of them are grouped.
2 of them are grouped together. What you may need to do is put those 2 Western Digitals on, say, SATA port 1 and 2, and then your DVD and the Samsung on SATA port 3 and 4.
He says he tried other mainboards.
Try other motherboards?
Yes.
Well, it also depends is he hooking them up the exact same way on that other motherboard.
Maybe, I don't know. He could be screwed up the ports
How
on the
weird.
motherboard.
That would be the first thing I'd look at, is how they're connected. Because, yeah, I know people think SATA these days, just plug in whatever and it works, and sometimes it does. But sometimes you get complicated stuff, and SATA goes, I'm going to do it my way.
Okay.
And where doesn't it show up? Doesn't it show up on my computer, or doesn't it show up in the device manager? And does it show up in the hard drive manager, the logical volume manager from Windows? There are different places where it could be hidden. And maybe you have configured like one of your ports as a RAID.
Oh, that might do it too. Yeah. Brr. You might have to check your BIOS to see if you have a RAID set up, because if you do, yeah, it's going to be like, fuck all of this!
Fuck everything!
But that wouldn't have on other motherboards.
Fuck everything! Need to get logged back in and back to forum thread because crazy mouse is crazy.
Kind of stumped on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of having a hard time thinking about this one. I don't know where to go with this.
I don't know, yeah.
I think 500 gigabyte drive might be broken.
It's possible.
Might be. It could be. Tuesday Tech Talk, how to do it. Page 8. Go. Does the 500 gigabyte drive work in any other configuration?
It works, but it masks other drives. It makes it disappear.
Yeah. I would.
Out of curiosity, just out of curiosity, I know SATA doesn't require this, but some drives still do it. Does it have master-slave pins on the back? I know the SATA. I know the SATA standard doesn't require it, but some drives still do it. I wonder if it has pins on the back that specify what it is, because I know the older SATA drives, when they were coming from IDE, would still do it, or some of them would, not all of them.
Yeah, that might. Some.
Does actually, here's an interesting question: does a 500 gigabyte drive have a master boot record on it?
Oh no, it doesn't show up on boot order.
Doesn't show up on boot order.
That might be because somewhere in your BIOS you can set up which hard drive should be booted from first.
Yeah.
That is not. That is on boot settings somewhere. Okay, how do I put it? Some BIOS have that. Might want to switch them around, like order them differently. But I should put them back, like switch the cables around.
I don't know.
How would that happen on multiple motherboards?
I have no idea. It's got to be something with that drive, dude. It's literally got to be something with that drive, doesn't it? I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Or maybe Samsung just made a shit drive.
It could be that Samsung just made a shit drive. I mean, that's entirely possible. I'm trying to look up anything based on a problem like this. I haven't found it at all.
Yeah. Look to your boot order things in your BIOS, like really hard. Check every option. See if you can use like page up, page down, or F5 or F6 to order them around. Like move one up, down. Sometimes doesn't really stay. We can do it there. Let's in some keys at the bottom.
Something just occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is he using IDE compatibility mode?
Maybe he could be. If he is, that would explain it.
Because it may be that that the Western Digital drives are in the new version, and that Samsung is formatted for the. Well, no, that would be on the Windows. That would be based off of Windows, not off of. Well, here's our go-to diagnostic. Linux Live CD. See what happens.
No, I think he's talking about his BIOS boot manager there. I think the drives are all there, but apparently BIOS might be some compatibility mode. It says this drive requires some other mode and only it shows up during boot. Or the boot order for hard drives is wrong.
Yeah, I'll buy a new one.
Nuke it, buy a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, it's only 500 gigabytes. Get another one.
Yeah,
know?
the fact that it's the Samsung is causing the Western Digitals to glitch. Maybe it's a compatibility issue. They're all supposed to be compatible.
Supposed to be, but still guaranteed.
Supposed to be, but maybe Samsung maybe Samsung made a shit drive.
I can't. It's almost certainly the hard drive, but I can't for the life of me figure out why it's doing it. It's probably busted. It's probably a busted controller. It's actually, what type of drive is it actually? What's the model number on it? I'd have to see what the model number is, I guess, because I have a sneaky suspicion that it may be a specific kind of drive, and not a regular just consumer plug and play type of drive. I don't know. Anyway, he's got another question for us, at least for me and Mark. When did you start programming, and were you one of the people who naturally was able to make sense of it, or were several years of playing around with various languages and building things? I asked as a qualified programmer. I asked since as a qualified programmer, I repeatedly see people who have been programming for years and just don't understand any of it or how to do anything. And then there's people who started programming and instantly click with it. What about you, Mark?
Oh yeah, I instantly clicked with it.
Instantly clicked with it. When did you start programming, though?
I really started programming a proper language when I was 15. Before I was trying this ClickX WinScript things.
Oh, you did the WinScript click executor or some shit like that, whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of us played with that. For me personally, I mean, I didn't. So did somebody beep at us?
It's my phone.
Oh, I got beeped at. I was like, oh shit, am I running out of time? No, for me, programming kind of clicked with me. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure it out, but. In terms of, computer science classes, I was always head of my class, picked up on assembler really fast, did the binary counting in my head, I did hex counting in my head, and just sort of I could do it.
I can't do that in my head. But...
Well, I used to be able to when I needed it for class, and nowadays I just don't give a shit. Like, whatever. But when I needed it for class, in fact, when I was in college, it was a 40, 42, 43 page final exam for our Introduction to CS class in college. And the reason it was so long is because you had an extra piece of paper to write your entire program out on. That's right, for our CS final, we would write the programs out on the paper, so that was fun.
I hate writing out the programs.
It sucks, doesn't it? They gave us 6 hours for the final. So they're expecting students to be there for a long time. Of all 42, 43, whatever it was, pages, I was done in like half an hour. All right, I'm done. And I went up to the teacher. I handed him. He's like, "What's the problem?" I was like, "I'm done." He's like, "Well, you can't leave for an hour." I was like, "Well, I'm done. Can I take a shit or something?" Like, what do you want me to do? So I mean, it's just that's just one of those things. Now I'm by no means a genius programmer. I'm not like I'm not some fucking savant programmer or anything like that. It's just one of those things that I could naturally do. See, for me, I could always read the languages really well. It was always just a matter of learning the different packages or the libraries of the languages and how to interact with the computer. That differentiates each language for me. Syntactically, I mean, they're all pretty much similar. There are some quirks here and there in terms of languages, but I really feel once you have a very solid, object-oriented base, maybe C++ or something like that, then you can pretty much jump around to the other languages. And barring any weird syntactical bullshit, like, sometimes Python will introduce some weird things, or Java. There's some quirks to each language, but once you figure them out, it's really just a matter of learning the libraries and then writing your programs out from there. I mean, ultimately, the programming language doesn't matter. It's just how you go around doing it that matters. What really matters, at least in terms of programming, to me, is getting the list of features down and figuring out how you're going to implement each of those features and how each of those features are going to interact with each other. That's the hard part of programming for me. That's the difficult part. Figuring out how these objects are going to work together and what to expose publicly and what to keep private. And that's the hard part of programming for me. The easy part is learning the language and executing it. That's the easy part.
And the fun part is solving the problem.
Yeah. Well, again, the fun part is solving the problem. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
did
the
that.
fun part is
I
always
made
solving
that
the
happen.
problem. It's never like I can program like all afternoon. That's that's just the hard work. That's